Good morning, Year 8. So today you are going to be doing some investigations at home. We've got two ideas for you. The first one is the rubber egg trick, and the second one is to make your own rock candy. You only have to try one of them, or if you want, you can try both. It's up to you. So pen and paper is needed, just so that I can go through with you the steps that are involved in both of the experiments. However, there are two links here for you to go and have a look at either before or after. It's up to you to see what should have happened, how it should have worked, or to prepare you for what you will be expecting to do. Okay, so the links are there to help you, and I'm just going to go through in this PowerPoint slide slash video what you need to do. So the first one we're going to look at is the rubber egg experiment. So a chicken's egg is covered in a shell. This is made of calcium carbonate. Okay, you've probably heard of calcium carbonate, CaCO3. It's a complex arrangement of carbons, calcium and oxygen. Okay, Ca, calcium, CO3, the carbon and oxygen. 3 oxygens, 1 carbon. Vinegar is acetic acid. And when you mix vinegar with baking soda, you get a strong reaction. The shell is made of the same stuff, the carbonate that is used in baking soda. So it will react like the soda. The bubbles you see in the water is the carbon dioxide gas. Okay, so most of the time we know that when there's bubbles, there's a reaction happening. It's one of the things that we look for in reactions. So once the shell's gone, the vinegar will cross over the semi-permeable membrane through osmosis and inflate the egg and pickle the egg by hardening it and toughening its membrane. So hopefully you can have a go at this experiment. So how are we going to do this? Right, so you need to get an egg, okay? You either cook it or keep it raw, however brave you're feeling. And you need a tall drinking glass, and you need white wine vinegar. You're going to put your egg into the glass, and you're going to pour the vinegar over the egg until the egg is completely covered. You're going to put the glass to one side. Okay, I know the vinegar is going to smell really strong, so it may stink out the house a little bit, or you can maybe put it outside if it's dry. You're going to let it soak overnight and make some observations. Have a look at if you see any foam or bubbles, and when it seems to be fastest and when it seems to be the slowest. Then you're going to rinse the vinegar foam and water and cover the egg again with vinegar. You're going to wait for 6 days. It's a long time, but you don't want half pickled eggs on your hands. At the end of this time, you're going to rinse the egg off, and you should notice it feels slightly different than when you started. You're going to test your new creation in the sink by dropping it a few inches from, and then some more. You hopefully have a new cool creation to astound your friends. The second experiment that you can have a go is at making your own rock candy. It's easy to make at home and it tastes great. It doubles as an SI experiment because we have to watch the crystals grow. We look at the combinations of colours, and the simplest sugars make it really easy to make. You need to make sure that though you have the exact quantity of syrup, and that depends on the size of jar. So for example, if your measurements work out 4 12-ounce jars for 1 quarter size mason jar, you can easily double or triple the recipe to make more rock candies. Up to you. So how do you do it, you ask? Well, you are going to need 2 cups of water, 6 cups of granulated sugar, 2 drops of food colouring. It is optional. If you haven't got food colouring, don't panic. And some teaspoon of flavouring extract or oil. Okay, again, optional, so don't panic if you don't have that in the house. Water and sugar is enough. There are quite a few steps in this, so you need to make sure you've got your materials prepared before you start. Clean the jars, make sure they're clean. You need a wooden skewer for this. Make sure it's about 1 inch from the bottom of the jar. You need to make sure you balance your skewer on the top of the jar, so you need to set up some sort of arrangement to do that. Okay, so you're going to wet your wooden skewer and you're going to roll it in the sugar. Okay, so this is your base layer that gives you the grab for the forming of the sugar syrup. You're going to place water in a medium sound pipe and bring it to the boil. You're going to add your cup of sugar one at a time, stirring each time. As the sugar dissolves, you need to keep adding it, okay? You want it to become saturated. So you want all the sugar to completely dissolve, and you want to make sure that the water is saturated. So there's so much sugar in there that no more sugar is going to dissolve in, okay? If you're using colourings, that's when you need to add them. And then you can add also your extract or your flavouring or your oil, okay? Sometimes it can be quite hot and quite steamy, so just make sure you take care with this, okay? You can always get an adult to help you. You need to add a couple of drops of the food colouring, and you're going to allow the sugar syrup to cool for about half an hour. And then you make sure your prepped jars are ready, okay? So you're going to give them a quick rinse with some hot water. You're going to pour the syrup into them, and then you're going to lower your skewer into the jar so it hangs about 1 inch from the bottom. And then you're going to carefully place your jar in a cool place. Now you need to make sure that it's undisturbed, so don't go every day to have a look at it and pick it up and move it around, because the crystals won't be able to then hold. You need to start seeing the crystals forming within 2 to 4 hours. If you don't see a change in 24 hours, try boiling up the sugar syrup again and making more sugar in. It might just be that it's not saturated enough, okay? Hopefully, if it all goes to plan, you'll have some lovely sugar candy to show us. It would be really amazing if you would take a photo of your creations, whether it be the rubber egg or the crystals, and send them to us if you can. Just some notes is to make sure that you don't allow the rock candy to grow too large, otherwise it will start sticking to the side of the jar. There will also be a top layer of crystals, and that's okay. Once it gets to the size, you can break that off as you take out your skewer. If you transfer the rock candy to empty jars, okay, allow it for an hour or so, or 2 hours to dry out before you try and eat it. Or you can wrap it in plastic and save it for later, okay. There are some tips here. You can have a read and see what you think. Again, like I said, it would be really nice if you could do some pictures of what you've made and send them to me, Miss Nixon or Miss Moore. And I'm hoping that you've enjoyed doing some experiments with us. Okay, have a wonderful, wonderful time doing experiments, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye.